Thousands filled a Lakeland church to remember a young officer who died while serving and protecting his community. The U.S. honor flag was flown in for the funeral of Officer Arnulfo Crispin. The 25-year-old was shot on December 18th after investigating suspicious activity near a city park and died a few days later. The 19-year-old accused shooter is in jail without bond. We begin our team coverage of today's services in Lakeland with our Ryan Raish. Good evening, Ryan.
Good evening. I'm outside the Victory Church here in Lakeland where the funeral was held earlier this morning. The main reason this church was chosen is because it can seat thousands of people, and today it did. There was standing room only as friends and colleagues reflected and said goodbye to Officer Arnulfo Crispin. Escorted by Lakeland police officers, the Crispin family took their seats just a few feet from the flag-draped casket. Some wore sunglasses to hide their tears, their pain.
When I first met Arnulfo, I was helping coach soccer at Mulberry High School.
Officer Corey Bowling says at the time Crispin was around 15 years old. His long hair always stood out. He quickly noticed his talent on the soccer field. On away games, Bowling remembers Crispin sitting next to him on the bus.
He would ask me things like, have you made any arrests lately? Have you tased anybody lately? He was always interested in law enforcement.
This officer says he always knew Crispin would one day become Officer Crispin. Bowling recalled the day he called him up, needing a letter of recommendation for the police academy.
The first thing I told him was he was going to have to cut his hair when he went in the police academy at first. But I would be honored to write it.
Later, it was Officer Bowling who vouched for Crispin and helped land him a job at LPD. Today, his boss fought back tears as she said the force was stronger because of him, the community safer.
Officer Arnulfo Crispin dedicated his life to serving and protecting others. And by his tragic death, he demonstrated the greatest love that one man can show.
Crispin's colleagues returned that love. From the moment Officer Crispin arrived at the hospital, a member of the Honor Guard stood by his side. Throughout the service, other officers took over this duty with pride. It was a very emotional service for people that were close to Officer Crispin and for those who never even met the young officer. By the way, it's always difficult to predict how many people are going to come out to a funeral like this. They were expecting thousands, and they got that. They were prepared with an overflow room at the gymnasium right next door, and in fact, they had a second overflow room prepped and ready if they needed it, and we were told that at least one of those rooms was used this morning. Live in Lakeland, Ryan Raish, ABC Action News.